Hi, I'm Cameron Turner. Chris Brown shouldn't have waited until 4 weeks after his guilty plea to publicly apologize for beating up Rihanna. Fortunately, Brown's videotaped mea culpa hits all the right notes. Now, in this tape, Chris repeatedly apologizes for his violent behavior, which he correctly describes as inexcusable. Now, even though he had apologized to Rihanna in private, this public repentance was necessary because Chris is a popular public figure who's admired by young people all over the world. And his assault of Rihanna was an injury to them as well as to her, not to mention set the worst possible example. Now, at this point, Chris needs to follow through with some in-depth anger management counseling, not just the bare minimum that's required by the courts. But I do think that we can ethically say at this point, after Chris's guilty plea and now this public apology, yes, we can ethically say case closed. Now, while we're talking about cases and apologies, it appears that the Cambridge, Massachusetts Police Department has no intention of apologizing for the arrest of Dr. Henry Louis Gates. He, of course, is the prominent black Harvard University professor who was booked for disorderly conduct after police mistook him for a burglar in his own house. Now, Gates got handcuffed after he grew angry with a white cop named Crowley, who continued to question him like a suspect even after the professor produced a driver's license and a Harvard ID. Now, Dr. Gates didn't threaten anybody. He didn't attack the cops, but Crowley claims he yelled a lot. And for that, Dr. Henry Louis Gates was put in jail. Now, the charges have been dropped, but in doing so, the Cambridge PD just added insult to injury by suggesting that Dr. Gates was equally responsible with Officer Crowley for this incident. At a press conference, Police Department spokesman Kelly Downs said, "I think both parties are to blame. You had two human beings that were reacting to a set of circumstances, and unfortunately, at the time, cooler heads did not prevail." That's nonsense. Nonsense. Police officers don't have the luxury of responding to circumstances the way civilians do. They are trained to remain calm and to diffuse escalating situations. Officer Crowley could have handled this whole thing with an apology and a quick exit. Now, naturally, the Cambridge PD insists that race had nothing to do with this situation. They can believe that if they want to. But as black people living in America, we can't afford to be that naive. I'm Cameron Turner. That's my 2 cents.